Yo.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the self-proclaimed musician podcast. I got a special guest with me. His name is Andrew.
Hi.
Hello. He is a guitar player. What else do you do?
Compose. Teach it at a Guitar Center. At GC.
At the GC Universe.
The GC Universe.
Nice. But yeah, I've been chatting with this guy for a while, and finally we got to jam a little bit today, and it was pretty
We
fun.
jammed a little bit. We played some Metallica.
Learned the dual solo to the Master of Puppets.
And then played some more Metallica.
That's right. Maybe a little bit of the Trooper, but it was good times. It was good times. So welcome, man.
Thank you.
It's good to have you here finally. But so if you're new to this podcast, we just talk about music in general, like get different people's perspective on music and kind of pick their brain about what music means to them, and kind of get a background of what exactly what kind of musical mind that people have. So
I hate
it's
music.
always you hate. All right, podcast done. Thank you for listening. First thing is kind of tell us about your musical background. What got you interested in music in the first place?
Who, me?
Yeah, you. The guy behind you.
Man, I don't have that much of a story. Like, I had this really bad relationship that I got out of a few years ago, and so I was just done with that and living alone in my apartment, and I happened to cross some cash on around Christmas time, and I was like, hey, why don't I buy a guitar? That's a nice midlife crisis, right? At 22, having a midlife crisis. And so I got that, and for about 3 years of my life, that was all I did. I went to work, I went home, I played guitar for like 8 to 10 hours daily. I mean, I'm not exaggerating, like daily.
Wow.
For like 3 years. And I started to get decent enough at it that I felt like I want to do something else with my life. I was working in like a factory, just not generally very happy with the job. It was just really boring.
Right.
And I got the chance to apply at Guitar Center. So I applied at Guitar Center, not really expecting to even get a call back. And they called me back the next day like, hey, we want to do an interview. And that was it. So I quit the factory job and started working as an instructor. I've been composing music in all that time. Since I started, I'm doing a composition degree at Lone Star College right now. I just finished like the first half of my associate's degree. So good times.
Yeah, and here we are doing a podcast, drinking coffee.
Yeah, well, it's pretty weird because like I had nothing at all to do with music before that, and my life just like completely 180'd in like the span of a couple of years. Just bought that guitar, and that changed everything for me.
That's pretty interesting. So before that, nothing musical. You never thought of anything musical before that?
Not really.
So how long you been playing guitar?
About three or 4 years now.
You're pretty far along for only 3 or 4 years.
Oh, thank you.
You you definitely have your chops down. You're teaching me stuff that I didn't even know. Even I've been playing for 15 years, and I'm still learning the theory side a little bit. But just jamming today, it's taught me a good amount. So now that you're teaching, so what is your goal as far as music goes? Like, what do you plan to do?
It took me a long time to figure this out. When I started going to college, I didn't know anything more than that I wanted to do something with music. I wanted away from manual labor and into music, and I didn't have a specific direction, but I figured that a vague direction was better than none at all.
Right.
So I vacillated in between a few different things. What I'm pretty sure that I want to do now is just be a freelance professional guitar player. I had the opportunity to do that for the first time like a couple of months ago. I played actually a live gig with an orchestra over in downtown Houston, a small-time orchestra, and it was a really, really cool experience, and it was really encouraging to me that I could do that and actually get paid for it.
Right.
And so I really want to like make a career out of that first. That's what I want to do. I also really want to compose my own original music, but that's something where in the past I was writing so much more music than I am now. I got busy, and it's hard to find the inspiration. And one of the problems I actually had was that I learned so much about music, I guess, compared to where I was when I started, that you end up with this like paralysis of choice. Like there's so many things that I could do that it's hard to like pick one thing.
Right.
And I mean that's not like an ego thing. It's not a good thing because now I'm not writing anything. But it's like every time I start writing music now, I'm like, hey, I'll start off with like some guitar part. Then I'm like, hey, I could put some like synth here, some drums there, some djembe over here, some choir here. Hey, I think we could have like maracas here, like, and you just kind of want to throw in like everything in the kitchen sink, and
yeah,
it's actually like kind of debilitating. Like I kind of miss when I didn't know anything because it was so much easier to come up with music
because it was so simplistic.
Well,
like now, well, I mean, I don't know. In my case, like I feel the same way. As I progressed in what I listened to musically, like I feel like I had to cram everything all into one song. Like
yeah, exactly. Like you have to show off like everything you know.
Yeah.
But it wasn't that it was simple necessarily, but it was more like when your understanding is very limited, then anything you come across, like you have to work with it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like you can't just turn to like the 500,000 other ideas you have in your bucket.
Yeah. You have to mainly just like focus on one, and then let that blossom, and then start going with the other ideas.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing about being a musician, is that you have to use a lot of ideas floating around in our brains, and like we kind of have like ADD in a way. Like musically, is just you start creating something, and then something else comes to mind, like, oh, maybe I should throw this in there.
Yeah.
And sometimes I don't know if about you, but I seem to force it sometimes, and then it takes me a day or two to realize maybe this is not such a good idea after all.
No, that's happened to me a lot lately. One of the coolest things that I came across recently, which this is not a paid advertisement. No one's paying me to say this, but one of the coolest things I came across.
We don't have any sponsors yet, so it's okay.
Is a YouTube guy called Ben Levin. I don't know if you heard of him. Have you heard of Adam Neely?
No. Oh wait, that name does ring a bell. I'm not exactly too sure.
He's really popular, like music theory kind of composing guy on YouTube.
Okay.
But he's got a friend called Ben Levin, and I found out about Ben Levin through Adam Neely. And what Ben Levin does is these videos on composing, where he's somebody who just has like a vast breadth of like music knowledge, way more than me. And he deals with it by putting these like limitations and these parameters on himself. So he'll say something like, I'm going to write a song using only, I don't know, piano and ukulele and these 5 minor chords. And then he'll put up a video of like his whole process of writing the music. And it's really amazing how it comes out, because when you stick yourself to that, you're like, nope, this is what I have to work with. You have to find a way to make it work. You can't fall back on 800 other things.
Right.
So every time he starts one of these videos, it starts off like, man, this kind of sucks. I don't think it's going to work. And then by the end, he manages to make it into something really amazing. So I'm really taking inspiration from him lately. That's the approach that I'm trying, and it seems to yield pretty good results.
Do you ever watch the videos on YouTube and try to not recreate, but challenge yourself to do what they do, except without exploiting it on the internet? Like, there's some that say like, I'm gonna try to create a song in an hour, or something like that. Have you ever tried to take that kind of idea and use it as a writing tool just for your purposes? Like, do I have what it takes to write a song in an hour? At least a decent song?
Yeah. No, of course. That's basically the same kind of thing that like Ben Levin is doing. It's like, write a song in an hour, write a song on baritone ukulele in the key of like B or whatever.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, that's something that I saw, and I mean, no discredit to. I know it's pretty hard to write a song in an hour, but I don't know. It just seemed like that.
Depends what kind of song.
Well, I mean, like, let's take Rob Scallons for example. The song that he wrote, I mean, I know he was trying his best to write it, but I don't know. It's just like, I felt like I could have wrote a better song in an hour.
You think?
Maybe I'll try it. I don't know.
Well, no, we should try it. Let's try it like on air, live on air. Write a song.
That would be cool. Like just have one. Just,
like literally just have like 2 keyboards and that's it. That's what you have to work with. Write a song in an hour.
I'm not a keyboard player at all. That would turn out really bad. Trust me. More like if you're probably better at keys than I am, so you're on keys. I'll play acoustic guitar or something.
Fair enough.
Maybe we should try that one day.
We'll do like a 2-part harmony.
But I'm probably underestimating it though, because I'm pretty sure he had the same idea that I was kind of talking about, or the same problem is like having too many ideas flow within that short amount of time, and he didn't have enough time to create it all or execute it all.
Yeah, like you really have to focus in when you know that much stuff, which I'm sure that Rob Scowen knows an awful lot about music too.
Yeah.
And when you have like all of that stuff floating around in your head, you really have to focus and like, I'm gonna do this and try really hard not to deviate from that, because that's when you end up with a mess.
Right.
Which I have about like 500 songs on my
500
computer. Yeah, like half finished songs.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and so many of them are like, wow, this one idea was really cool, but man, this is bad.
Yeah, that's how mine is. I don't know if you saw it, but when I was making a new thing in Logic right now, like all my projects came up, and it's like has the title, like a fake title, and then it says NF next to it, which is not finished. So they all say that, except for like maybe 2 or 3 of them. So I know the feeling. But
what I really want to do, actually, this next coming up college semester, I'm going to take a composition lesson with a guy at Lone Star College called wow, I forgot his name suddenly. Mark Buller. Yeah, he's my oral skills professor for the last couple of years, and he's a composer, like a big name composer, like writes for Houston Symphony and Boston Symphony, all these big name guys. If I'm saying something wrong, don't sue me. But he writes pretty significant stuff, and he's actually doing composition lessons now, and so I'm really looking forward to kind of refining my approach that way, because I had to write music for school, and a lot of the stuff that I wrote for school turned out pretty decent because there was really strict limitations on it.
Right.
Like one of the last ones we had that I actually kind of liked was a set theory one, which is like you have to write music using this little set of intervals or whatever, and just having that kind of thing to work with, it really smooths out the process a lot, and that's something I really want to go into a lot more.
Oh, sweet, man. I mean, so you're really into the like composition thing. Like I never consider if you create something, I guess you're considered a composer. Would you say that, or would you say a composer, like someone creating a musical, like something, like say recording a metal song, as opposed to composing something for a musical or for something? Would you say there's a difference in that term, like composer?
Well, I think the big difference is like between composer and songwriter, I guess. And it's usually like if you write instrumental music, I mean, I don't know how many people really like call themselves composers. It just kind of sounds vaguely pretentious.
Yeah.
But there's nothing else.
Don't go to my Instagram because I have composer on there as one of my bio. So don't judge me too hard.
But what else are you gonna say? I mean, there's no other term.
Well, I could change it to songwriter. Well, I think I have that on there too.
Well, I think the difference is that songwriter is somebody who writes like pop music, and composer is somebody who writes music that's not necessarily pop music. And so it's more the difference, like if you're writing something within like a standardized song form to be commercial music, that's
right.
like songwriting. And whereas if you're writing something that's a little more like long form, then it's more like composing, I guess. But
yeah.
then you have things that like blur the lines too. Like you have like those like progressive rock bands who write songs that are like 12 minutes long and they have like full symphony orchestration. Is that composing or is it songwriting? I don't know.
Well, it depends, because I can say for a fact, like let's take one of the more popular prog bands out there, Dream Theater.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Jordan Rudess, the keyboard player, is a composer. Like he
Well,
is,
of course. Well, and they write. So Dream Theater writes music with like full symphony orchestra arrangements and all this stuff. So,
Right.
Is it composing? Is it songwriting? Is it pop music? Is Dream Theater pop music? I don't even know.
Well, there's a couple of songs that I would consider pop. Like maybe there's a song called "The Wither" that's really poppy.
Right.
That's on their I believe it's Black Cloud's Silver Lining album.
Well, there's a distinction to be made between, I guess, what they call pop music, which is like a specific genre, and what they call popular music, which in the classical world is anything that's essentially not classical music.
Right.
So if you're writing something that's not classical music, then it's popular music, according to pretentious classical people.
Well, yeah. When I say poppy, like I mean.
No,
like,
I get what you mean.
Yeah. It's just it's in 4/4, like that's which is odd for Dream Theater. Like it's just a straight beat. I mean, of course,
When you write so much in odd time that 4/4 becomes an odd time signature.
It's like there was a meme out there with John Petrucci on it, and it said, "It's like what did it say? It's like if you don't like Prague, son, I feel bad for you." Or if you don't like Prague, I feel bad for you, son. I got 99 time signatures, but 4/4 ain't one.
Dude, so okay, in the last few months, I've been looking for inspiration by learning like old school metal songs, like stuff from the 70s and 80s, and I came across I was in Guitar Center, and this dude was playing a riff, and I was like, man, what is that? That's cool, I know that. And I asked him, and he's like, oh, it's Black Magic by Slayer. And I was like, oh, okay. I love Slayer, and I don't look like I like Slayer, not anymore. I cut my hair, I dress reasonably respectably. I don't think I look like a metal fan anymore.
You mean you don't have a denim jacket?
No, I don't even have a battle.
Did you even wear one back in the day?
No, I didn't.
No,
I never really did.
I never did the denim jacket with patches all over. And
I had the hair
that.
though. For a while, I had the hair.
Yeah.
But what was I saying? Yeah, so he's playing Black Magic. So I went and I was like, hey, I'll learn that song. It's a neat little riff. And I'm playing it and I'm listening to it and I'm like, oh my god, this is in 5/4. Slayer is Prague.
Who would have known?
Yeah.
You know what? There's a lot of like metal out there that seem that straightforward, like compositions like 4/4, like easy time signatures. But when you dissect it, sometimes they'll be really in odd time signatures, but without even knowing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty sure because
I don't think Slayer was thinking, hey, we're gonna write a song in 5/4.
Exactly.
I think probably they just jammed out on that riff and then just recorded it.
Right.
They probably didn't even think about what time signature is in. And honestly, I think that's the superior approach.
Yeah, absolutely. Like if you think about it too much, you just end up like pulling your hair out, being like, what's going on here?
Well, if you think about it too much, you end up writing that really just like music for musicians, like douchey Dream Theater stuff.
Hey man, I like Dream Theater. Don't call it douchey.
Well, no, it's not like Dream Theater doesn't do this, but people who try to sound like Dream Theater do this.
Like trying to be like
technical for the sake of being technical,
right? And I get what they're coming from. Even people that are not prog fans or only listen to simplistic music. I mean, I'm not saying anything because I listen to that stuff too. I'm a big pop fan. And
what was that I
like
saw
that.
On your playlist earlier? Gangsta shit.
Oh
we have to
yeah.
censor that?
No. We can
can't
cuss
say that
on here.
word on air.
We can cuss on here. It's no problem. Yeah. I mean, I have a very diverse. Musical taste. I mean, I listen to everything from heavy metal, black metal, grind, everything to.
Yeah.
I have Katy Perry's Prism album on my playlist. I mean, it's one of those things where I used to be a metal elitist though. Like, if you came at me probably at 2006, 2008 era,
yeah.
like I would shun anybody that would play something else besides heavy metal.
Nice.
No, not nice. That was a pretentious douchebag era.
I had that kind of phase too, sorta. It wasn't that I shunned people who didn't listen to metal, but it was more like I was very into like, well, this is metal, well, this is not metal. So like, I don't know, what's like a poser metal band like
a metal like poser metal band?
Yeah, like Bring Me the Horizon.
Five Finger
like
Death Punch.
That.
That's bro metal.
If it's not on the Metal Archives, it's not really metal. No, but
fun fact: my band is in the Metal Archives.
Is?
Well, it's in one of the metal like encyclopedia websites.
Yeah, Encyclopedia Metallica. That's the Metal
Oh
Archives.
yeah, I'm my band's on there.
Nice. No, wait. Where was I going with this? I was going to say something interesting and I forgot. About metal elitists and metal.
Metal. You said bro metal or like poser metal bands. You were talking about something like that.
Yeah, I'll remember it later.
All right, cool. But yeah, I mean, I try to give those bands a chance, like the Bring Me the Horizons, the Five Finger Death Punch.
Yeah,
it's just not for me. Like, I prop for them for making it, you know.
Yeah,
like, yeah. But it's just something that I'm not really into.
Well, I think I pissed off a whole bunch of those guys on the internet a while back because they have this very like cult-like mentality, like you're supposed to like love these certain bands and hate these other ones, and like a Creator. You know, I'll probably piss off people by saying this. I never got him. I listened to Pleasure to Kill like 10 times all the way through. I listened to their whole discography. It's not for me. I just don't like it. It doesn't do anything for me.
And that's respectable. I mean, it's not for everybody. Like okay, here's a band that everybody seems to like, but I don't. AC/DC. I don't get it. I don't.
I like a few songs, but from what I've listened to of them, it sounds like if you know a few songs, you know their whole discography, like all of it. But no, I think I pissed off a ton of those people the other day because they were talking about Death. You know Death, right? Chuck Schuldiner.
Yeah. R.I.P.
And this guy was like, I think Spiritual Healing was the worst Death album. And I was like, actually, I think Leprosy was the worst. And I got so much anger on the internet over that. I was like, I really love the later Death stuff, like the prog stuff. Mm-hmm. Like from Human and onward. I love all of that stuff. I don't get the early stuff that much. Like, and it's not that I don't like old school death metal. I love Morbid Angel.
Is that like Scream Bloody Gore?
Scream Bloody Gore I liked, but Leprosy just didn't do anything for me. Like, I thought the riffs were generic and predictable. Like bum 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 bum. Like it wasn't that interesting. And the
that sounded like a old school composition for like a 80s horror movie. Boom, boom, boom. Like the killer is about to like creep up on them, and they're like in the darkness. Oh, wonder what? And then boom, boom, boom. This killer shows up.
Yeah, I didn't think it was that great, but I don't know. I really love the Morbid Angel stuff that other people hate, like their kind of middle period stuff. Mm-hmm. Like what was that one called? Not Illid. That was the one that everyone hated. The one that I also hate. That one with that really weird yellow album cover. It's like yellow and blue.
Is it Morbid Angel?
Yeah, Formulas Fatal to the Flesh.
Okay.
I love that one. I love Gateways to Annihilation, like Domination, all that. I just love Morbid Angel. I like Trey Asgathoth. How do you even say that?
What is it?
Asgathoth, the big guitar player.
That's all you got to say.
He has like the most creative like riffing style, and I don't know where he gets his influence from, but he doesn't sound like anybody else really out there. Even people who try to sound like him don't really pull it off.
Well, that's the thing. Like, so you can still have an influence and have your own taste or your own style in there. I mean, I think that's where a lot of the bands are like that are coming from, like that are spawning now. Like that's why we don't. Well, I mean, I don't know. I can't really explain it because some of them sound just like similar to each other, but there's once in a while there's a unique touch from a guitar player where you can tell that it's influenced by somebody, but however they're putting their own style into it.
Well, see, and that was the thing. I actually got burned out on metal for a long time, and there was a period of like a year and a half where I didn't listen to any metal at all, and it was because I was in that like metal elitist sphere, and all the bands that those kind of people kind of approve of all sound really similar.
Right, yeah. I agree. Like, are you talking about like the 80s kind of metal period?
Yeah, but I mean, they all have like that, like the similar kind of riffs, the similar kind of like sound and tone and style, and I got really burned out on it. And it wasn't until I got into like progressive metal and stuff that I started listening to metal again, because it was something that was different. And
right.
Then I started listening to too much prog, and now I'm kind of burned out on that because there's so many prog bands that sound the same.
You're like, goodness, another riff and like 1624, like something like that.
One of my friends said this thing to me, like he said he was getting tired of bands that are like weird chord, whittly, repeat. I was like, yeah.
weird chord, weird chord.
Yeah, because there's like a lot of that out there in the like
Yeah.
guitar player music sphere.
Yeah, of course. So as far as guitar players, like, I mean, you've only been playing, you said, for 3-4 years, which is crazy. Who are your influences at the moment as far as guitar playing goes?
Well, you mean like
who inspired you to play guitar, and who are your, let's say, top 3 favorite guitar players as of right now?
See, like, I got into guitar in the first place mostly because of Slayer and Metallica, which, being such a like prog nerd, I don't think people typically think I would be into Slayer, but I love Slayer. I love the early stuff. I think the first 5 or so albums are like masterpieces. Like they had an aesthetic that they wanted to go for, and they really achieved it. So Jeff Hanneman was like my biggest influence in the first place into like getting into playing guitar. Mm-hmm. More so than anyone else, really. Like the very first song I wanted to play when I got my guitar was Angel of Death, which was so funny. Now looking back on that I thought I was going to play Angel of Death in like my first week of playing.
I got a question. I mean, being a Slayer fan, because I mean, I know of Slayer. I've listened to Slayer, mm-hmm. But I wasn't a huge Slayer fan.
Right.
So when I started playing guitar, I only knew of Kerry King only because he came up of like a lot in conversation, mm-hmm. and like
everyone makes fun of him and how crappy his solo is. And
well, yeah, I mean, yeah, but however, but no one mentioned Jeff like at all. But later on down the line, I found out that Jeff was actually one of the main creators of all the riffs. Like,
right, yeah, he's the main songwriter of all the good Slayer songs.
But why do you think that Kerry King kind of came up in conversation a lot more than Jeff? Like, I don't know. In my perspective, he did, but I think he should have got more credit than he got. I mean, do you feel the same way?
Like Jeff Hanneman should have got more credit? Yeah, yeah. I mean, I came into Slayer pretty late in the game, so I guess by the time I heard of them, everyone knew about Jeff Hanneman, because I guess when I looked deep into it, and I found out that all my favorite songs were written by him. Right. But I guess Kerry King's, he's a lot more like memeable. Like he's kind of a funny looking guy, and because like in the early material, from like Show No Mercy to like Rain and Blood, the distinction between who wrote which song is not as obvious. If you know a little bit about the band, you can tell, but if you don't, it's not that obvious. But it becomes really obvious later in their career that Kerry King starts doing most of the writing, and that's when they start going really downhill. And I don't know, like he has this. I feel like after Jeff like stopped putting so much input into the writing, a lot of the imagination went away, and that's when Slayer became this meme of like just playing open strings and generic shredding and all that stuff.
All right.
Because I didn't think they had that problem really in their career. A lot of the stuff from like the 80s is like super creative, and even the solos, they're not exactly what you'd call melodic, but they really fit what's going on all the time.
The chaos.
Yeah, the total chaos, and like the end of Raining Blood is like my favorite example of that. Just like the total insanity. Just it could almost be like freeform jazz. Like it's just total chaos.
You should write a freeform jazz version of Rain and Blood.
I saw there was like a Jared Dines did that at one point. He was doing like a video where it was like different guitar riffs transplanted to different styles.
Oh, right, yeah.
And one of them was like Raining Blood jazz.
That's awesome. I love when they do stuff like that. So I know we wanted to. I did ask you. Oh yeah, continue with your influences. Like
influences.
Yeah, because you said Slayer, Metallica got you into playing guitar. So
yeah,
name your top 3 guitar players as of right now.
As of now, man, I'm not even sure who to pick. Like the number 1 is probably Guthrie Govan.
Okay.
Which is not like a controversial answer or anything.
No,
Everyone loves Guthrie.
Guthrie is awesome. I have to totally agree with that statement.
So like, Man, because I've had so many in, I guess, like such a short time. It's hard to even go back and think of all the stuff that I kind of like went through. But Guthrie, for sure. Jeff Hanneman, for sure. Still, even now. Trey Asgathoth.
From Morbid Angel?
Yeah, from Morbid Angel. Him still. I absolutely love his style. I really like...
So you're not just doing your top 3. You're kind of just doing like a top... guitarist?
Top 3 is too hard because I went through so many like phases already that... But him, Joe Pass, for sure. I absolutely love Joe Pass. You know Joe Pass?
No. From is he a solo artist or does he have in a group?
Yeah, what was a solo artist? He's dead. Oh. He was a jazz guitar player, one of the best jazz guitar players, and he was probably the guy that really got me into like listening to jazz because in that time that I didn't listen to any metal, I listened to a whole lot of jazz, and that was like my life for a while, and I still really like jazz, and now I kind of like I sort of want to take that jazz influence and put it into my music, but at the same time I don't because it's become such a cliche now.
To put jazz music in
put jazz influence in like metal music because like, everyone's doing it now. Animals as leaders and all those guys.
I think one band that does it really tastefully without pushing it to where you can tell that you can tell he's doing jazz chords because if you're a metalhead and you listen to this band, you'll be like, oh, that's really cool that he's doing stuff like that. There's a band from Boston called Revocation.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of them.
Yeah, they Dave Davidson is actually a really, really awesome guitar player. He knows his theory, and he's a big fan of jazz music.
Yeah.
And it's apparent in their music.
Yeah, the guys from Meshuggah are big fans of jazz.
Are they?
You wouldn't think. But yeah, I'm going to mess this up. The main guy, Frederick Thornhill.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's
is that his? Yeah, I think it is. I think
he talks about it in interviews though, like all the jazz stuff that he listens to and how he tries to make the guitar sound like a saxophone and like you can actually hear it if you listen to the solos on like New Millennium, Cyanide Christ and like Stenga and all that. Yeah, I can hear it.
Yeah. So I mean that's cool that you have like various influences, like some that are shredders, some that are not. I mean, I'm sure they are shredders, but known more for the riffs.
Yeah, I'm really not that much of like a shred guy. Like, I like some of it, but I just I don't know. I'm a lot more into the like riffs and stuff.
Right.
And I'm not just saying that because like it's trendy to say that now because it is kind of trendy to like poop on shredders now.
It's lacking feel and emotion.
Yeah.
Man.
And I said that to somebody at one point, that my goal was to get good enough at guitar that people start telling me I have no soul.
You either have no soul or you lack of...
Or lack soul, lack emotion,
soul,
whatever.
Emotion, and everything like that. So speaking of shredders, we were talking earlier about Steve Vai's rendition of The Trooper from Iron Maiden.
Yeah, and I said that Steve Vai's rendition of The Trooper is the worst rendition of The Trooper that I've
So
ever
we're
heard.
actually going to watch it live on air here.
All right.
And kind of dissect it. And if you watching at home or listening at home, go onto YouTube and look up Steve Vai, The Trooper. And actually, I'll probably leave a link in whatever source that you're listening to. I'm actually going to upload this onto SoundCloud and on YouTube. So I'll leave a link in the description. So let's go and look for it really quick.
Yeah, are we going to be able to play it on air where people listening can hear the audio?
Yeah.
Okay.
They'll be able to hear the audio. I'm going to make it to where it's not overbearing to them. But yeah, let's. So Steve Vai.
I will say before you even start playing.
Okay. I'm going to continue to look for it. Go ahead.
Yeah, the singer is not like Bruce Dickinson.
Well, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Because we heard a snippet of it earlier. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? I want to save it for when we record this podcast so we can give our live input on this thing.
I just want to say before we even start, props to the guy for trying because the song is not easy. I've tried it. I actually had a little bit of like classical vocal training. I tried to sing this song. It's hard. It's not an easy song.
Well, I mean, yeah.
I give the guy props for going for it.
There you go. Okay. So, yeah, like I said, I'm going to leave the link in the description, so if you want to follow along.
It takes guts to do this kind of thing.
So here we go. We're going to click on this. Let me make sure that the volume is working here. Okay, yeah. All right. So we should be able to good to go on this. Make sure the volume levels are okay because I don't want this to overtake everything. And yes, it is. All right. All right.
Good volume?
I think so. Yeah. Yes, it is good volume.
Starts off not bad.
Yeah, I mean he's playing the actual song right now.
I think I can't see it right now, but I think they have 3 guitar players playing on this.
Do they really?
I think so. I think when it pans out, you'll see there's 3 guitar players.
Well, that's pretty cool. I mean, at least they're staying true to like the band, you know. Okay, here we go. Okay, all right, hold on. Okay, see, this is where we stopped last time, like when we first started, when we listened to it earlier. Now, just listen to the first few notes. It sounds like if I woke up in the morning and tried to sing this song, like without warming up or anything like that.
I mean, it gets better.
Okay, so after that first line, it does get better.
I'm just saying, this is hard stuff to sing. This is not easy at all. If it was easy, everyone would do it.
I don't. Okay, right there too. So I hate how he held that C out and then like okay, watch.
I didn't even notice that.
See, watch. He held it out without doing the galloping rhythm. I don't know why I get so mad at that. I don't know why.
I don't know. That's the least of the things that annoy me about this by far.
Yeah, that's something that I don't know why I got so mad at that. I know it's like something simple, but I don't know. Because everybody else was doing the galloping rhythm except for Mr. Vi.
Right.
So, all right, let's move on. And he messed up too. He thought he was going back to the melody part, but he.
Yeah, I think this is just like a live band jamming out the song. Like somebody called the trooper, and they're like, "All right, fine, we'll do the trooper." Like I don't think they practiced this.
Yeah, okay, maybe you're right. Maybe I'm being too harsh, but I don't know. It was just funny.
That's not the problem I have with this.
See, right here, like, I mean, sounds great.
Now, this is where I start getting annoyed.
And doing an octave higher doesn't add anything to it.
It's just,
and then he's just doing trills.
Yeah, it's just him, like, trying to be fancy, and it just gets on my nerves.
I'm surprised he's not dancing all over the stage. I don't know. Okay, and just disclosure, I love Steve Vai to death. Like he's one of my favorite guitar players. But but whenever he does another person's song, and I said this to you earlier, if it's not, it just seems like he. Here we go.
What he's doing here is just kind of like look at me, look at what a good musician I am, kind of stuff.
And so while we're here criticizing this, the first comment up above is,
yeah.
"Why do we always tend to criticize everything we experience? Can we just enjoy?"
For God's sakes, it's Vi playing Maiden.
Okay, but we all have their opinions. I mean, like, and I'm gonna say it again. Not that I didn't. What are you looking for? Okay. Your other cup. Oh, the water. Oh, but not. I'm not discrediting Vi for trying. It's just something that we needed something to do on the podcast, man.
No,
Come on.
It's all in
good fun.
Yeah, it's all in good fun. Like,
yeah.
All respect to Vi.
So don't take it seriously. If you're gonna leave a comment about us commenting on other people's comments, comment, etc. Like inception of comments.
Yeah, let's go. I want to hear more of this.
Okay, let's go. Okay, now here comes the solo. Oh, okay, not that solo.
Oh yeah, but I completely forgot how he totally takes a dump on the solo in this song.
All right.
swing.
And of course,
keep going. You'll see it.
that's such a Vi thing to do.
She's like, okay, yeah, just replace half the solo with whammy bar noise. Sure.
All right, even the other guy is not even staying true to the solo. I figured someone would.
Well, the other guy is playing stuff that's like tasteful and at least fits the context. Vi replacing half the solo with whammy bar noise is what got on my nerves.
Solo assessment. All right, who wins? The guy with the red guitar or Vi?
Who is the guy with the red guitar?
I have no. It doesn't even. Does it say on the description? No, it does not.
Definitely him, but I don't know who he is.
Okay, yeah, I would say that too because at the last
Look, if you're gonna do such a famous song, don't replace half the solo with whammy bar noise.
So there's a lesson for everybody. Don't replace your solos with whammy bar noise. Okay, let's move on.
That would be like Merzbow covering Iron Maiden.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Look at me and look what a good musician I am.
He's only doing that because those last frets are scallops.
I know. That is kind of annoying. Like now, now that you mention it, I can't unhear it.
And now he's gonna do octave harmony, or isn't even? Yeah. And then Vi face, and then more whammy bar tricks.
Yeah, like okay, we get it. You can improvise. Cool.
And then Eddie Van Halen pinch harmonics.
Yeah.
You can't even hear the other harmony. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, it's just a recording of minutes there.
All right. Okay. I mean, the crowd loved it. Oh, there's only there's not that many people raising their hands and clapping.
I was going to say, there's like 3 people clapping relative to the whole crowd.
All right. So
yeah, you might want to pause that autoplay.
It's not gonna play.
Oh, okay.
So final assessment.
That comment. He used the whammy bar so much that I think my guitar's almost went out of tune.
Hold on, let me check mine. Nope. All right. Horrible voice, of course.
Yeah, I can't even go there. If someone has the balls to get up and sing that, I'm not going to poop on them. He gave it a solid attempt.
And I think you're right. I'm pretty sure they just decided, like, maybe
a
few hours before, was like, hey, guys, y'all should play the Trooper. Everybody know it? Yeah, we all know it.
No, I literally think someone in the crowd probably just called out the Trooper, and they're like, okay.
They're taking requests now?
Probably.
I don't know. I think it was a pre-show decision. I don't know if I wasn't there, but I don't know. The cat. But yeah. So, wow, that was an experience there.
Yeah, Steve Vai thoroughly pooped on. Yeah.
Thoroughly pooped on Iron Maiden's classic. But
we also thoroughly pooped on Steve Vai because we're all obviously much better and more famous than Steve Vai.
Yeah, I know. We are. But like I said, we're definitely not pooping on Vi at all. And because he's one of my favorite guitar players, so. But well, man, anything else you want to say to people before we wrap this up?
No, I think that's it. I think that's a wrap.
It. Cool, man. Well, I appreciate you coming by and doing this. It's definitely fun to get other people's perspective, and I'm pretty sure. I don't know what exactly how long this podcast was, but we should definitely have to do a part 2. And
sure.
There's another video that we have to do an assessment on.
What are we on? Bar 1363.
Yeah, we've only bar now 1365, 1366.
Nice. Yeah, I think this one went pretty long.
Yeah, that's always a good thing. So, but yeah, thanks for stopping by, giving your input on music, and we're definitely gonna do a part 2 another time. So, but thank y'all for listening. Make sure to share this around, and we'll have some more guests lined up, ready to go. Of course, they're not going to be famous people. That would probably be later on down the line when we get a little bit more viewership. But you know who is in town that maybe we can get on? I can get on here, Mr. Rusty Cooley himself. Yeah. But he'll probably charge me about $2,000 to do so. So
I've actually been doing his arpeggio.
Yeah, me too. I have his fretboard Opsopsy and Arpeggio Madness book.
Yeah.
Which are really good. I like them.
Arpeggio Madness got me from not knowing anything at all about sweep picking to being able to kind of sort of sweep.
So, there you go.
Significant improvement.
So, but yeah, again, I appreciate y'all listening, and thank you, Andrew, for coming by. But yeah, spread this around, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.